for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Fans Toys FT-09 Tesla, which is their version of a masterpiece Perceptor. As you can see for the package, you got a nice image of Tesla here in the front, as well as his name and the FT-09 logo down there. Very similar to a lot of the other boxes that we've got, very kind of masterpiece looking. You got Tesla here along the side, you got an image of his microscope mode, Tesla on the other side here on the back. You got images of the figure, both in robot and microscope mode. And then it says, among the universe's most luminous scientific minds, Tesla worked to solve his homeworld's energy crisis before Civil War drove him and his fellows into exile. Tremendous intellect, encyclopedic knowledge, and eidetic memory provide him answers to even the most obscure questions, though many of his comrades consider him an insufferable know-it-all as a result. His brain is a supercomputer more powerful than all Earth's computers combined, but he struggles to communicate his brilliant theories when he speaks in complex jargon and technobabble. As a microscope, Tesla uses subatomic particles to view matter down to the size of an atom. As a telescope, he can see through time-space to the beginnings of the universe. He can analyze any material and sequence DNA. A reluctant warrior, he is nevertheless brave and wields a concussion rifle when forced into combat. He fights the way he thinks, using logic, thoughtful planning, and pinpoint calculations to gain the advantage over his foes. And then obviously you can check out Fans Toys at fanstoys.com and then weibo.com/fanstoys. People may be asking why 9 when the most recent figure that they released was Sever, which was FT-06. Well, 7 and 8 are the rest of their Dinobots. But for the packaging, that's about it for him. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Tesla opened up out of his packaging and obviously in his microscope mode. And looking at him, there is really no mistaking who this guy's supposed to be. They did a great job of recreating the Perceptor character in terms of a masterpiece sort of figure. But honestly, this was probably not too difficult for him. I mean, the G1 toy had a very kind of advanced sort of transformation that really worked perfectly for him. Well, maybe I shouldn't say advanced because it's a 1980s toy, but it really was a well-done figure. It harkened back to the micro-change days where before Transformers, they were toys that just kids could play with, such as Megatron, Soundwave, Perceptor. They were all designed to transform and be, kid-size sort of accessories. And Perceptor definitely did that, and I really do gotta give Fans Toys credit because they didn't really deviate too much. And you can see without question it has all the same elements that Perceptor had. You got the legs down here on the side, you got his chest piece that comes down. You do have a kind of working microscope right here. You can see that moves up and down. What's weird though is when you look through there, it kind of like, I don't know if it's gonna show it. Let me see. Where's it at? No. Yeah, oh, you can kind of see it, that the gun actually is upside down for some reason. It's like that. There you go. You can see that the handle is right there. So it's kind of weird. It's like they don't have the proper refracting lens or something in there, but I don't know. One thing that I don't particularly like, and I do wish that there was a way to actually incorporate this where this part of the arms could like collapse down, because you can't lift this up anymore. I mean, you can if you detach this, you can lift it like that. I guess you could do something along those lines, but it's really meant to stay down like that. If these little forearm pieces weren't as tall, and I'm just going to peg that back together, you can get it looking up a little bit more. I mean, as it is, it works perfectly fine. There's a little bit of movement right here, but you really don't need it to move too terribly far out, because this is where you're going to be scoping things out. So I do appreciate that. I think it's cool, but like I said, I wish there was a way that you could collapse this section down a little bit more. That would have been a nice touch. He does come with 2 different weapons. You got this nice rifle right here, which has a real nice paint job on here. I really like how they got the silver here for the actual knob section, and then the silver is actually also on the inside. That's really cool. I appreciate that. You got a nice little silver bit right there. You got some blue right here for the scope, but overall pretty cool looking, just a kind of rifle sort of gun. And then he's got this, which is very similar to his is a G1 gun, and then you can rotate that and pull that out. And if you don't want to have the little piece hanging out like that, I mean, you have different options with that. One other thing that's really very cool that I don't think that they needed to do, but I'm glad that they did, is you got this blue section here for his forearms as well as his thighs. Now that's a lot more toy accurate in terms of the coloring. They also did include these lighter blue pieces. Like for example, these are going to be the thighs, and these are a lot more actual cartoon accurate. They just split like that, and then you put them together. I mean, you use the same screws and everything there. So I love the fact that they gave us that option. That's really a cool touch, and Fan Toys does a lot of stuff like that. You know, like they allow us to change the colors of the eyes in a lot of their Dino Bit figures, you know, and things like that. I think that's a wonderful little touch, and I'm definitely going to swap that out because I like the cartoon look a little bit more. But all in all, really fairly nice. It's not really anything too different. Now, one other thing that's pretty cool about this is, much like that original G1 toy kind of harkens back to that micro change figure that also had a alternate transformation, that being of a tank. Fans Toys has incorporated that into Tesla as well. So first, all you do is you just kind of angle this. I mean, this is going to be his cannon, so just kind of straighten that out just like so. That's really all you need to do for that. And then you take this, detach this, come around here to the bottom. You can see that lifting that up, you got a little tire tank tread thing hidden in there. And then this is a little bit hard to get to. Let me pull out a little piece of metal here to kind of flip this forward. It's not easy to get to it because there's not a lot of clearance inside there, but get that all the way out, back in. Oh, there we go. There we are. You got the little tire right there. And then you just take this section, collapse this down, and then keep that out there. Fold that just like so. Then you rotate this whole section around, detach that, and you're going to angle this around and like this, and then you bring this in. It's another notch. You got one notch here and one notch here. This notch right here comes around, and then you'll be able to lock that piece right there. Do that on this side as well. We're going to try that and do a little bit more successful of a job. Let's see if I can actually do it. Get that out of the way, lift this out. There's that evil tire in there, and nope, not gonna get it. There we go. There we go. That was a lot easier that time though. But tuck that like so under. Very stiff are these joints. That's a definite plus on this. And then fold that in just like so. And then you again rotate this piece around. Keep that there. Detach that. Rotate that around like so. Then click that into place and kind of angle this, and now you have him in his tank mode. And again, it's just kind of a throwback to how that original G1 toy was, but I think it's really cool that they actually included something like this. Now, it's not in the instructions, but the way that the tabs are actually done here for the thighs and everything just really make it obvious that you can put it down like that. And I mean, you got a little wheel right here to kind of help things along, but honestly, it stays a little bit better if you keep it kind of positioned like this and angle that back like that. If you keep it along that lines, it's much better, I guess, looking tank, I suppose. I mean, like I said, that it's a great touch that Fans Toys decided to put that kind of throwaway design with the tank in there. But for me, this is and always has been Perceptor's alternate mode. Now, to go into his robot mode, we're just going to take this, collapse that up just like so, detach this, rotate that around, bring that down, swivel that forward, and then rotate this around. This is the front. Take this little section here, rotate that up just like so, fold that, and this is actually die cast. There's not a lot of die cast in here, but the feet are made out of die cast, which is pretty nice and pretty standard for Fans Toys. So again, detach the skirt piece from the thigh, rotate that, pinch myself, rotate that around like so, rotate this around, take this, lift this up like that, fold the foot forward, fold the heel piece back, kind of bring the legs together, straighten it, kind of push the skirt pieces, come around here to the back. You got the little wheel section, fold this up and tuck that away just like so, kind of straightening them up right there, angling up so that you can see a little bit better. You're going to separate this scope section, just kind of pull the arms apart and then bring this back just like so. This whole section right here, then you detach, and it's kind of hard. It tabs in there very securely. So you got these big long tabs right here that come up and fit in the back of his forearms there and there. They're really stiff and require a little bit of force, but the plastic feels extraordinarily sturdy on there, and I don't feel any problems whatsoever are going to come from that. So then you take this section, rotate this just like so, pull out his head like that, fold this section up, and then you bring this section, kind of keep these arms out, bring this section down, bring this forward, then rotate his head, and then you take these sections and collapse these in, kind of keep his head up. There we go. Collapse that in right there. Then this is personal preference. You can put it on his right shoulder or his left shoulder. I like putting it on his left shoulder. It looks more like several of the cartoon images that I saw. So just click that in just like so. Rotate his hands down. Open this section. Reach in here. Pull out his hands. Close that. Rotate that around. Do that on this side as well. Fold that out. There we go. Get that out like so. Close this section up. Straighten that. Then you just take this, swivel this forward, straighten out his head, and there you have Tesla in his robot mode. And really, once again, Fans Toys has done an amazing job of capturing that likeness of a previously existing character. Tesla here absolutely looks terrific. I think it's a real great representation. The simplicity of the transformation really comes through and yields a really wonderful looking robot mode. Probably if I were to give one criticism about the actual figure itself, would probably be in his face sculpt. It's not my favorite looking. Coming in to take a look at that, and you can see that, I mean, it has all the elements that you would expect on Perceptor. I'm just not a real big fan of the way that his lips look. I think they're a little bit too poofy. But in all fairness, everything else on him really does come across very nicely. I mean, you can see all the great detail really nicely accentuated on this guy. Now for his articulation, now this section here can articulate up and down. I mean, you can kind of position that how you want. Like I said, you can actually swap this over. You got the little clip here on the back that you can move it on his right shoulder if you really wanted to. The head itself is on a swivel, so you can move it left, right, and then it pivots up and down. The shoulders move all the way around 360 degrees. They move in and out. They do have a rotation up here at the upper part of the bicep. He's got two joints here at the elbow, so you get a nice range of motion there, kind of spreading these out. You do get a waist rotation. This section right here lifts forward, and then also that moves out so that you can move his legs forward and back, in and out, and they also rotate at the upper section of the actual thigh. You got some ratchets here for his knees. The toes move forward and back, and then you get some wicked crazy ankle tilt on there. I mean, that kind of looks a little ugly when you spread it out that far, especially when you're looking at it like that, but people like their ankle tilt, so that's in there, so you do have that. So all that articulation really is there. I love how you can still lower this. You can kind of look down on it as if it's a bit of a computer screen or something. Great detail on the inside here with some really nice paint detail thrown in there as well. All the sculpting on here is really well done. I like the use of the chrome here. Oh, actually, these are die cast. I didn't even notice. The little rotation dials here are also made out of die cast. So you got die cast there, and then also in his feet. So all the, I guess, major benefits of a masterpiece figure are fully represented in this guy, and I think it's really well done. He does come with his guns, as I showed you. They just got the little tabs on there, so you just fold these out. And then the fingers are all individually articulated as well. Well, at least the main fingers are. They just kind of are in a hook sort of shape. They're not kind of fully articulated, I guess. Well, except for the main trigger finger, that actually is. So you just tab that in there, and then you bring the hand around so you can have him holding his blaster. But honestly, for me, Perceptor is a scientist. Yes, he will fight, and yes, he will use a gun, but I'm pretty happy with kind of keeping him in that, you know, science kind of mode, I suppose. So getting that thumb back down there, you want to keep that tucked in because it is a bit of a pain in the butt when you're transforming him. It does get caught. Now, some people have complained about these shoulder bits right here. They don't stay locked in. I mean, you can kind of hear it kind of grabs, but I mean, they don't flop out. I mean, you can see there is no movement on mine. I mean, yeah, they don't lock in as sturdily as other pieces, but I mean, if you go crazy with it, it will come out. I mean, you could see how violent I was doing that. I mean, that makes it come out, but overall, I mean, it's not flopping out when you're just normal, and this one's actually really pretty strong. So I don't really look at this as a weaker figure from Fans Toys. I think that this is honestly one of their stronger ones. I mean, it's very simple and comes through very nicely, despite its simple nature. So for a comparison, I'm going to set him there, and here are a couple of his Season 3 buddies. Obviously, we have Hot Rod and Ultra Magnus. And again, scale-wise, I think that this works really nicely. He should be a little bit smaller than some of the main guys like Hot Rod and Ultra Magnus, and they did a good job of incorporating that. That I think is a good scale for me, and as you can see, nicely fits with other Masterpiece figures. And here's Tesla with those lighter blue, more cartoon accurate forearms and thighs. So for comparison, I'm just going to do a little screenshot here. On the left side here, you see the more cartoon accurate look for him, whereas on the right here, you see the more toy accurate look. It's personal preference what you like. I actually do prefer this a little bit more. Like I said, just because it has more of that cartoon look. But all in all, I mean, depending on what your preference is, either way, it's gonna look really cool. Now, to transform him back, we're going to come around here. We're going to detach this from the body and slide this out just like that. This is going to rotate back. Now, one thing that I want to comment on, and the instructions actually have this wrong. This section right here folds all the way down just like so. If you take it and rotate this around, well, you're supposed to rotate these and you're supposed to bring these in like this, getting those tabbed in here. We'll fiddle with this here in a second, but this is how it's supposed to be. If you take this and rotate it with the head down in the proper configuration, you just push that down, it doesn't go all the way down, and unfortunately what you're left with is these sections here kind of going off on an angle, because as you can see, this little piece right here kind of pushes these sections up. So what you need to do, and like I said, the instructions actually have this wrong. You need to take this, rotate this around, then bring it back like so. That gives just enough clearance that once you, well, get that in there, line that up, tab that in, then you can actually keep those more on a straight angle and they're not going to be angled, which is really what you want, and honestly pretty cool looking. That engineering, while very simple, is really quite fun to actually utilize. I'm really quite impressed with it. Then you take this section. This part can be a little bit difficult. You have to line this up, and that's probably the hardest part. You kind of have to pull and get that in there, kind of pull this up, get that in there, and then you push that all the way in just like so. I should have did this before, but I was too busy showing the other thing. But just take this, kind of get this out of the way, get that thumb down there. The little forearm section needs to slide down, so get that like that, and then make sure that you get the thumb in there properly, and then tuck that all the way in and collapse that just like so. Do that on this side as well. Again, get that little section out, rotate this all the way in like so, collapse that up just like that, and then rotate that around. You're going to keep it just like that, obviously. Take this section, this does slide up a little bit, and then you need to bring this through here and then slide that up like I said, and then this will tab on the inside of the forearms, locking that whole assembly into place just like so. So now you basically have the top of them done. Take this, fold this down. Well, you can take this, fold that down, come down here to the legs. These little pieces you want to lift up just to make it a little bit easier. Rotate this around. Again, you're going to rotate that all the way around so that the screws are actually on the top of them. Take the little feet, position that like so, rotate this. You got the little notch right here that's going to slot in there. Like I said, you got two notches on both sides of the lower part of his leg, so that really leads me to believe that that tank is meant to be there, because the tank uses this. Nothing else uses this tab, only the tank does. So then once you get that, this is a little bit tricky to do. You have to line up this skirt piece, because that's where the little tab is. It might be hard to see, but you got a little tab right sticking out there that's going to slot in right there, and yet you have to slowly bring it up, kind of push that in, slowly get it, because sometimes it doesn't want to catch, and it's really, that's probably the most difficult part about this, just getting that to slowly come up. You can hear the squeaky joints that's there we go. Kind of common with some Fans Toy stuff. So getting that like that, again, take this, rotate this around, bring this up, bring the foot section together, rotate this down like that. Going to bring this down, and I pushed it down too far. Then slowly bring that up and hope that that catches on that little, there we go, just like so. Then bring this in, tab that section into the side of the thigh, just like so. Take these little bits. These are actually a little bit tough to get to, and I'm going to use a little wedge, just kind of get my finger in there, bring that forward like so. Do that on this side as well, just to wedge that up just a little. Bring that over, and that covers up that really ugly gap right there. That actually does a pretty good job of it. But once you're done, there you have Perceptor. Oh no, I'm sorry. You got to take the little wheel thing. That helps to stabilize them. But once you're done, there you have Perceptor back in his microscope mode. All in all, another very good outing by Fans Toys. Tesla does a great job of homaging that G1 Perceptor figure and giving him to us in a masterpiece kind of scale. The only minor complaints that I would really have on it is I wish that there's a way to collapse the actual forearms more down into the actual shoulders. I don't see why you couldn't. I mean, this section right here, you probably could have hollowed out a little bit more and made it collapse down. I think that would have looked a little bit better. That would also allow you to kind of articulate this up a little bit more. All in all, it's not bad, and it's more of a minor kind of nitpick than anything, but it's something that I would have liked to have seen, I guess. And then the other thing is, I'm not a big fan of the way that the lips look. Those are kind of poofy, and it looks like there's been Botox injected in them. The quality of the plastic is top-notch. The engineering is fantastic. The similarities between both alternate mode as well as robot mode to the official counterpart are really phenomenal. They just nail it, I really feel, on all different accounts. So if this is one guy that you'd like to add to your collection, he is available right now at Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to BBTS where you can pick this guy up and add him to your collection today. But beyond that, that's about it, guys. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been optibotimus. Don't forget that you can keep in touch with me by liking my Facebook page at facebook.com/teambotimus and by following me over on Twitter at twitter.com/optibotimus. Also, I'd encourage you to check out my website at optibotimusreviews.com, where you can see all my videos from the previous week, see what I have coming up for future release, and also get your very own Optibotimus t-shirt. And finally, I'd also really appreciate it, guys, that if you like this review, don't forget to please like and comment, and be sure to subscribe so that you never miss a future review. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.